Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Gomu Gomu no Talk podcast, where we talk all things One Piece every week. I'm your host Lyle. Here we have my co-host,
Hey, what's up, lads? I'm Austin.
and so we have a lot of things to uncover today between episode 1127 and Manga Chapter 1147. But first, before we do that, I just want to say, make sure you guys subscribe, like, or whatever on whatever platform you're listening on, that being YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. And also before we start too, we also wanted to talk about how
I guess
the formatting of our future episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, because previously we were keeping the anime spoiler free, but then I felt like it was really constricting us in our discussions and conversations as we really couldn't discuss anything since we already know what happened, so it felt like almost pointless or like very absurd talking about like a lot of things. So I feel like going forward, and we got some feedback too, it just felt like we were just basically describing what was going on, you know? And I mean, I guess that's the point of a review, but I just felt like our discussions weren't, I don't know, kind of genuine, you know?
Yeah, it's very hard, especially as people who who read the manga a lot, every week. I mean, and who watch the anime. It's like we watch the anime just to see like a lot of people, the clarifications of like stuff that they might have read that they might have missed, or um just to see like the stuff they've been reading on action. And it's very hard to like talk about what's happening on screen, especially if you know what's gonna happen right next.
Yeah.
So it was like I saw that last week. I was like talking about. I was like, yeah, it's pretty hard to talk about this without saying anything too much. But we're just gonna try to keep it. We are gonna like moving forward. The anime discussion is gonna be spoiler. Include a lot of
Some
we include
spoilers,
spoilers basically. Yeah.
And so, yeah, if you're not caught up, go catch up. It's not that many chapters ahead, so it's like I feel like our main point was just like for people who are caught up to the anime and are watching this, like you really should catch up to the manga. Um,
Yeah.
it's only about
Dude.
I would say like I don't even know, maybe like 60 chapters, like less than 60 chapters ahead.
I think it's around there. It's definitely less than 100 chapters, and the chapters are they're not like beefy chapters whatsoever. I mean, there's a lot of text, but 16 pages, 16, 18 pages per chapter. It's not the worst. And then also too, man, there's a lot of stuff going on in the manga right now that I think you should all just check out.
Exactly. All I'm saying is
Missing out.
Lyle caught up all of One Piece in a matter of months, but not even like, it was
I wouldn't even
a
say
matter of like
months.
a
It was like
few months.
a month and a few weeks.
Yeah, maybe like two
Until
months.
done.
So you guys
Yeah.
can do it. We believe in
Yeah,
you.
no, for real. All right, man. Let's get into this episode though. I thought this episode was great. In terms of just visually.
Oh no,
What did you think?
I mean, we'll go into our ratings later, but yeah, I also thought this episode specifically stood out. I was definitely not expecting this, um, so I was very pleasantly surprised. And so
What did you mean not expecting this?
uh, I was not expecting the visuals like to be
Oh
for
yeah.
it to be so visually pleasing, as well as even like when I was looking at the title, I was a little confused. Like 1127 is titled Luffy versus Kizaru, a fierce kaleidoscopic battle. And I mean, when I initially read that, I was like, okay, like what does that even mean? I mean, I know what a kaleidoscope is. But I was just like, why are they using that to describe this battle? Like I read it. I didn't think kaleidoscopes when I was reading it, so I was a little confused. But I guess it really it leaves all. It starts off where we leave off with just Luffy manhandling Kizaru, and the eyes of like the ancient robot like glowing. Obviously Kizaru is just nonchalant as always. I feel like that's a very recurring thing, you know. But I think we get to see Kizaru sweat for the first time as he's looking at like Luffy in Gear 5, which I thought was a really nice detail. As someone who literally looks like he doesn't care at all the time, seeing him like a little nervous, I thought was a really good was a really nice detail.
Yeah, even in during like Marineford, like he wasn't. I've never actually seen him like this monk ass, you know, most like this stressed out over this pressed over just like seeing someone that could actually like fuck him up, and it's very nice to see too. It's like especially because like since this is supposed to be like a parallel to what happened before in Sabaody, how much Luffy has grown, and you know how like he's actually come to like the same like power level of Kizaru. That he like Kizaru now is just like fucking, I wouldn't say shitting his pants, but now he actually has to try with going against Luffy.
Mm, yeah, and I think just seeing Gear 5 Luffy is always a treat for like all of us, especially as a manga reader. Like in the anime, we haven't been able to see it too much, and when we do, it's only for like very brief moments. So it's really nice seeing. But obviously Luffy grabs this guy, spins him around and like a million times, and just tosses him. And I think like, as nice it is for us to see it for the first time, it's also you get the perspective of I think everyone in the Labosphere seeing it. I think like Brooke, Nami, they mentioned like it's their first time seeing it in person, like up close.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I don't think Brooke has seen, like, Nami and them have seen it a little bit, right? Like,
yeah,
so
I think it was Brooke's first time seeing it.
Yeah. And Brooke, yeah, no, dude. I think I said this in the previous episode, like when they were talking about the manga, but I love Brooke Bone jokes. That shit is that shit. Like I know a lot of people are not really the biggest fans because it's kind of like corny, but that shit is so fucking funny to me. So when he said that shit, I actually kind of giggled a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, no man, Luffy fucked his ass up, and it's crazy because like if you're in the perspective of like of the crew, right? The last time you seen Kizaru was just him sending like kicking everybody's ass. Not even just like Straw Hats, right? Just everyone on Sabaody. And now like you see him just getting manhandled, put in a spin cycle from Kizaru, and then like it's like I'm like, dude, if I was like a person like Usopp, I'm like, damn, bro, like I picked the right crew to join. It's like, damn, that's my captain.
That's why he's the GOAT.
That's why he's the GOAT. And it's like, how the fuck do I do that shit? I'm cool, bro, but nah, because Usopp is. Yeah, no. In the perspective of the crew, it's actually really like cool to see. You know, just to see like that's how far your captain has actually like gone to the point where he's battling admirals like it's nothing.
No, he literally sends Kizaru flying, and then we can see like the rest of the crew deciding that while Luffy's fighting Kizaru, like they're gonna try and escape. You know.
Yeah.
And I think I like a nice detail here was that Vegapunk sees Bonnie running around alone, and you can see how worried he is. Obviously they craft up a game plan. I believe Atlas is leaving to go take back control of the pacifistas. So since they have a higher authority. But before she even goes, Vegapunk asks to go with her, and everyone's just like, bro, like,
what the fuck are you thinking, bro?
Bro, that is the worst idea, you know?
Yeah, and it is crazy too. And like even like when you fast forward, like when because Luffy doesn't know like what their plans are. When he sees Stella, and it's like Stella, Atlas, and the crew just like leaving the what's it called again? The Lavosphere? Yeah, the Lavosphere. It's like he's just like, what the fuck are you, old man? Like, what the hell are you doing? So the plan, like Stella mentioned, it's like the plan was just for Pythagoras just to be able to take down the dome, like the barriers, so when they are able to get out safely while keeping everybody else like trapped inside.
Yeah, the dynamic kind of changes because it's initially starts as a rescue mission for Vegapunk, but then now Vegapunk is going on a rescue mission to save Bonnie.
Yeah.
And then he kind of recruits people. I know Sanji joins the call, and he's joining in on this rescue mission. I like the little detail of what's it called? Vegapunk scolding Frankie for letting Kizaru kick Bonnie, and he's just like,
Yeah.
if I was only a little bit faster, I'm just like, no, like bro, I don't think you were gonna do anything.
Yeah.
But
No.
obviously it goes from that, and then I think the next perspective we get to see is Bonnie's, and I actually really liked this action sequence of Bonnie getting to her own action. She's all alone, obviously, on the ground floor, and she was like in kid form, hiding from all the Navy soldiers, and obviously they can tell she's there, and then so she just starts throwing hands. I thought it was really nice seeing her fight. I thought it was really cool, and then also the way that she uses her devil fruit was really creative. I also thought, like, at one point in her her fight, she clashes with like a swordsman, like a sword, and then she just ages the sword, rusting it, and it kind of reminded me of like the rust thrust fruit. This was like very early on. I forgot which arc.
That was I think that was in Water 7, but that was in East Lobby when they were leaving the.
That was at like the end of
the area.
In which Zoro loses one of his swords because of the rust fruit. So I thought that was really cool, seeing how she uses it very similarly.
Yeah, no. Her double fruit is fucking crazy, bro. It's just like the limitless. I actually even forgot that like she was able to like rust it like that or age the inanimate objects like that too. And it was like when I was actually like I actually thought it was like really cool seeing it again. And I was just like thinking like all the shit she can actually fucking do with just not just like with people's age. It's the age, like the limits are endless, which is that fruit. It's crazy. And then we see Sensamaru later on in the sequence too.
Yeah, and dude, this guy
actually
is
fucking
crispy.
burnt,
Literally
burnt
crispy,
to her crisp.
dude.
Yeah.
But obviously, we get to see, I guess, Bonnie's flashback when she gets sent by Kizaru into the I guess the barrier, and she's like falling down, but it's Sentamaru who catches her, and kind of saves her, and he just tells her to run before he passes out, which. Before this arc, I was not a Sentamaru fan, but I think after this, Sentamaru's the GOAT, dude.
This whole arc just made him look all. I didn't like him either. Like when we saw him in Sabaody, I thought he was just like a whatever character.
Yeah. And
I was like, dude, this guy's just strong as hell for no reason.
Yeah.
But then like. Now we know like his backstory a little bit, especially like and seeing his relation to why he's so close to Vegapunk and I guess Kizaru too. It makes it a lot better knowing like the background and like what he has in his like what's going through his head while this whole thing is going on.
Yeah, this character actually has some depth to him, As opposed to like when we see all the other Marines like in the previous arcs, we're just like, okay, they're just doing this just to do this. Like we see this guy has his
their
own
job.
Reasons. Yeah, he's actually going against his orders and his job, like because he has his own personal reasons. And dude, this guy is loyal, dude. But
right so
there, with Sentamaru just
now. We're at we do a little break and then we start getting into Lucci versus Zoro, and we saw this in the previous episode, right? We saw a little bit of it in the previous episode with them just I guess like Lucci trying to attack Vegapunk, Zoro blocking it, and then they leave the labosphere, and this is where it's continued from that scene. And man, it is crazy. The Zoro fans gotta stand up for this one, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's like I do think it's kind of funny, like how like Lucci went from just like, oh, I can't be Luffy, but now like I guess like Zoro's the next best thing that I can get, and so like Luffy's like even there like, yo, you want my help, Zoro? It's like no, I'm cool. I'm alright.
Just like I got it, don't worry. But
and then
dude,
Lucci. Go ahead, guys. Sorry.
Dude, okay, so during this fight, Zoro, they like clash mid-air, and then like there's like a second where they're just staring at each other, and you can see, I think Zoro starts hitting the rotations on him, you know? And dude,
Yeah.
actually, when I saw this, I was like, yo, it's Rock Lee! It's Rock Lee versus Garen. I forgot what the move was, but that's all I could think about. I was like, yo, he hit him with the Rock Lee special, you know? He
The
started
flying, I think it was like the spinning lotus.
spinning, yeah.
Wait, let me look this up. Rock Lee spinning.
We'll also pull up a clip because that's all I could see when I was watching this. I was like, dude,
The front lotus. It's so funny you mentioned that because I can see it now.
I was wondering if other people also noticed that too, or like made this connection, because that's all I could think about. I was like, dude, this is like prime Chunin exam, like Rock versus Gara, like the exact same move, pretty much, and sends him straight around.
Oh, it's funny. Yeah.
And then I think after that move, like Lucci does acknowledge like Zoro's strength.
Like, dude, like he's like, I commend him for being the number 2 of the Emperor's crew, of an Emperor crew, and it's like Lucci says it himself. I'm tired of this. You know, people trying to prop up Sanji to be the number 2. There's a group of people that are actually like that. No, man, this is verbatim.
Yeah,
like, you know, it says it right there. He's the number 2 to Luffy, and it's fine. It's okay. It's okay to accept it. Zoro's a goat.
No, he is. And then so that was a very short segment, but it cuts to, and I feel like this is where the animation really started to shine. Was it cuts to
this
really
is where
wide shots of the sky above the marine ships, and you can see just Kizaru flying. It's still, this is obviously after Luffy put him in the spin cycle and threw him, and this is where personally I was like, oh, I see why this episode is called you know, a kaleidoscopic battle.
It's a complex pattern of colors. It is actually so fucking sick, man. Like the whole, when he starts off with him just like flying across the ocean, and he does his sacred jewel attack, and then it turns into clones.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I was watching this. I was like, dude, this is gonna be fucking crazy. This whole fucking episode.
Yeah. There's like so many impact frames too when he's flying through, or like when you see him doing his moves, and like the colors, all the kaleidoscopic colors and stuff.
Dude, there's no way you can watch this show and just be like, and have epilepsy or something.
I was gonna say, yeah, they do have probably epilepsy warnings, but also something I noticed when he's flying through the air, he kind of goes back to being nonchalant again. Like you can see it, he's flying through the air, but his one leg is literally crossed. You know, it seems like he's just chilling, flying around with his like leg crossed. But yeah, he flips around, uses Sacred Jewel, and sends back, I don't even know, like 100 clones back towards Luffy.
Yeah, there's a good amount of clones. I don't know how much the number is, but it's like, and they all themselves too, like, are using the sword as well, and they're just like going after him. Yeah, it is actually when they're in a cloud, it's so cool, man. Yeah, like it's just like, I don't even know how else to explain it other than like the mix of colors, like, you know, and the wide shots, it makes it so fucking beautiful.
Yeah, you can really see where like Toei took the 6 months to like kind of work out all the details, as well as like add their own details to the source material, because like when I read it, I did not see this, you know, like this was not what I was expecting. You know, obviously I was expecting something crazy, but I definitely was not imagining like these colors and the action sequence looking like this. Because yeah, you even mentioned it when they were fighting in the cloud, dude. That was so sick.
I also think, like, every time I see Giant Luffy, like, you saw this in the beginning of the episode too. Whenever you see Giant Luffy, it looks kind of goofy the way he's like moving around. Yeah. Not even just like him, I'm just saying like animation style. It doesn't look. It looks not really that fluid, but
yeah, no. But I thought this was really nice when he got. He obviously turns giant again to fight all of these clones, and
you saw where the budgets are kicking in.
Yeah. I thought that, because I also thought the exact same thing. Sometimes when he gets big, like it looks a little off, but I thought for this episode, especially this sequence, it looked really good, especially
Oh
with
my
all
God.
the clones flying around him. I felt like it was
Dude,
he looked like King Kong, and a bunch of like
yeah.
little airplanes flying around or like flies like bothering him.
When when he blew off all the clones and then the clones just like grabbed each other
Oh yeah,
and
I
just
thought that
threw
was
themselves
so
back.
cool.
I was like, damn, I'm like in my head, I'm like, this guy's made of light. Does he really need to do this, man?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I was like,
can't he just like,
Toby is just like
spin it
flexing.
back?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
literally like, yo, these people, these animators are just flexing at this point, There's literally no reason for them to do that besides to make it like, to just flex the animation. But I really like that detail. Especially like I think one is grabbing the tree and then they make like a chain just grabbing each other. And then I think they toss each I'm not even sure. They toss each other, but then they turn back
They
into
toss
light.
each other.
But I thought you'll see for like one frame, it's just like you just see the like a bubble of light and then Kizaru's face on it.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny as they're flying back towards him.
Yeah. But yeah, no, no, that's cool as fucking when they were when they were flying back to Luffy. Luffy was like, "Oh, I'm scared," and like say, "Psych, bitch." He said like the whole. Remember, that meme was like, "Call the cops or call an ambulance, but not for me."
Yeah.
Yeah, he pulls down on him and kicks him, and he's like, I guess looking for the real one, thinking he actually got him, but it was all ruse.
Yeah.
Because that's how Kizaru actually got into the Lavosphere, and the next thing you see is him. When I saw him holding Usopp, I thought he had him by just his nose.
That's also what I thought too, but I realized it was just his lips, and it literally looks like he's holding him like, when people go fishing and they get like a nice catch, like he's literally holding him up like that, like like a prize. I thought that was really nice. But you can see Kizaru's, kind of like done playing these games, and he's just going for Vegapunk. But obviously, even he's there, and he's just like, oh, like where is Vegapunk? Obviously, we know that he left prior to go find Bonnie.
Yeah, once he learns that he just puts down Usopp, it's like, all right, I'm gonna look for him again.
Yeah.
I think he sees him and he starts charging up his. Well, I guess this is a nameless attack, just like a light
laser.
beam. His laser, and out of nowhere, fucking Luffy just jumps on it.
Yeah.
I thought that shit was funny as hell. It's like he just fucking eats it.
But I think it was everybody's reaction. It reminds me of like Dressrosa, like Sugar's eyes. When she's scared, like everybody's eyes literally pop out. Everyone's just like, bruh, like what?
What the fuck? What the fuck did I just watch?
And then, like, you can see Luffy's body starting to react, and like literally light is coming out of like his eyes, his nose, his mouth, like everything. And then I think Edison cracks the Frontier Dome, so then they can get to the passive, and then the pacifistas are already like ready to shoot, and I think that's where Alice orders them, and she commands them to wipe out all the Navy soldiers.
Yeah. First they were like, "Hey, attack them in psych."
Yeah.
You better attack the Navy soldiers instead.
Somebody call an ambulance, but not for
not for
like that. But even before that, I think like when you see Vegapunk in I don't know what they're in. I guess they're the car. You can kind of really see the determination in his eyes as he's going to go rescue Bonnie, which I think is pretty rare. I feel like when we see Vegapunk, he's pretty goofy, I mean, he's been goofy this entire time, but to see him, he kind of like locks in at this point. And you can really see in his eyes, like he looks like he's very serious all of a sudden. But and that's pretty much where the episode ends. And again, I thought very similar to last week's episode. I really like the way this episode ends. It ends with a cut to Saint Saturn in his ship. And then we get the special to-be screen.
Another.
Yeah.
Toei's farming these to-be continued signs. There's how many has it been? I think 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It's
But,
been a few now.
yeah, we can see obviously the to be continued screen, and then you can see Saint Saturn's eyes just open up in the background, and then the episode ends. And as soon as it ended, I was just like, okay, like, masterpiece. That was a masterpiece. I don't know how else to describe it.
It was a crazy fucking episode, especially like the second half of it was fucking nuts, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember you mentioned this before too. There's a lot to unpack in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the action sequences, bro. It is crazy. And next week's episode too. There's a lot of stuff going on as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know you talked about the preview.
Yeah,
we get to see Saturn actually fucking pulling up for real too.
Mm-hmm. Which
I can't wait for that.
From like a anime only perspective, you probably see the preview for the next episode, and you just see like pentagrams and like summoning circles, and you're just like, what is going on, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess like I'm so excited for the next episode. I assume everybody else is, but what would you?
And you can kind of like, oh okay, I think an 8.5 or a 9. I thought the Luffy versus Kizaru and Lucci. I mean, we get this little bit of Lucci versus Zoro too. We really get to see like those 6 months of that 6 month break, coming into fruition into like how well it's actually being animated. It made the experience, especially as someone who's read this portion of in the manga.
Yeah.
Like I still appreciate it really well, and it's like as a manga reader, when I watch stuff in anime, it's like I usually don't really watch anime of manga that I've read because it's like why? Because like I've already actually like read it
the same way, unless and
it's like
scenes here and there, but
but it's like. But One Piece does it for me, where in terms it's like I'm still so excited. Like I'm very excited to see how things are animated, because I just know how much Toei cooks.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd say it's like 8.5 to 9 for me. And I thought it was very well made.
Wow. Yeah, that's a very good score.
Oh yeah.
I gave this episode like a 9.5. I think for me, like, you know, it was a great episode, obviously, but for me, like, what puts it at like a 9.5 for me was like, it was actually better than I remembered, and I also thought that the details that they added really enhanced it from the manga. You know, I think all these colors, all these impact frames, for me, it really made the episode stand out way more in my like from what I remembered. So I think like, at least for my ratings, like, when it comes to the anime, when they add material that really enhances it and makes the story better, like, puts it above a 9. You know,
that's an even better score.
Sure. Yeah, I know, but again, I was just like, I was very happy with how this episode turned out. You know, it for me, it made it feel like the 6 month wait was actually really worth it. You know, I actually don't mind waiting, especially if I know that they're actually really working on production and working on making even like the source material like better, as well as like the story. So for me, I gave it a 9.5.
I feel like I remember like I was talking about this with someone. It's like One Piece. The thing One Piece does the best out of like any other show is how good. Like I feel like whenever people talk about One Piece, like they talk about how good the moments are, the non-combat moments, right? When I think of like Naruto or other like battle anime, battle shonen, it's always the fights, fights, and One Piece is always known for the cool scenes, right? Like the One Piece is real, or I want to live, shit like that.
Yeah,
and especially as of late, the past like few arcs, like Wano and Egghead now, is like Toei has done a really good job of just like. And like we still have those moments, right? Of the non-combat moments of how cool they are, but like we really brought in how cool like some of these fights actually are, and they've done such a great job with this one. And I can tell whenever we see Saturn and Kizaru getting handled by fucking Luffy, or when the other elders start showing up, like it's it's gonna be just as crazy too.
No, yeah.
So I really
I'm
commend them.
so excited for, I guess, like the next month. I believe, if I remember correctly, like the next 4 or 5 episodes is literally all peak. And I feel like, especially if you are an anime watcher right now, like I even though I know it's peak and it's coming out very soon, I would actually still recommend reading it and watching it afterwards. I feel like although I read it, I almost get a new experience when I watch it again.
Yeah.
You know,
and this is, and like I think when I mentioned this too, it's like this is something I don't do for other manga or anime. You know, manga I've read, it's like because like Attack on Titan or something. I'm not trying to shit on it, right? But it's like I'll get the same feeling, you know. And it's like, why should I even watch this if I've read it before? And you know, the whole point of watching something, especially when you read it, is to see how different it'll make you feel. And dude, this One Piece, Toei cooks. Yeah, I mean, what can I say?
No, again, not to downplay other anime, but I feel like, you know, for a lot of other shows, especially when the production isn't that good, like when you read it and it's like, okay, like this is peak fiction, like it's like amazing, and then when you watch it again, it's almost like diminishing returns because you've seen it and you know what's gonna happen. It feels like you get almost like less dopamine. I feel like with One Piece, especially lately in the most recent arc, it feels, if not the same, like better, you know. So that's why I feel like, especially for our format, like we should just go to, like, I feel like it's okay to go to spoilers, because I do think people should read it, and that it's fine. Like the experience you get is like the same, if not better.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a great episode.
All right, now I guess we could segue straight into the second half of this podcast. We're gonna be talking about the manga.
Yep, we have chapter 1147.
Yes, sir.
This is titled "What We Are Afraid Of," and obviously you already know we have to start with the cover art.
When are we gonna move on past this? But this one's I'm not gonna say it's all right. You know, hopefully this is a sign of like it's gonna come to an end soon, because we're doing a little.
Since we started this podcast, by the way, this is episode 6, so like. We've probably covered like four chapters or something. But
which volume is this now? This is volume 32. I think that's a lot for a cover story.
Yeah, like for me, dude, I just don't know how much longer he can stretch this cover story art for. You know, like. Does he not get tired of just drawing the exact same thing every single week? Yeah. I feel like I've seen Yamato in front of the Who's Who like building at least like 3 times now. It's the exact same thing.
Where else could we go after, like, you know, like what other like portions of the story do you think we can get into for the cover story instead?
Dude,
again, I feel like there's...
I feel like for me, it's also nice seeing, like, because sometimes we'll get cover stories of, it will just be like people reacting to what's going on in the world, you know? I'm just tired of seeing Yamato in front of Who's Who building, or just chilling in Wano eating food. Like, I feel like it's just the exact same thing every single week.
It's either Yamato fighting or Yamato eating.
Yeah.
It's one of the two.
Like, I would take, like, and even, like, there's been a few, like, you know, side story that, like, he'll hint on, you know, like in Nell's moon missions, or, like, story. Like, I really like those, you know, or
Ace's Adventures.
Exactly.
I even liked Wapple, like what happened to Wapple after.
Seeing like these other characters like do their own
Kobe's thing. Adventures, you know, those that was a good one. Yeah.
So
I mean, I was like, dude, I kind of want to see, like, when I asked that, I was like thinking, like, man, like I kind of want to see like what happened to the people that got clapped over Egghead. Like, I'm talking about like Kid and Kid and what's his face, Barto. Maybe like we'll see like how Barto's doing now, because there's no way he's out of the story, right? I don't know.
I don't know.
I kind of want to see that being a cover story, but yeah, I trust Sonoda.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I trust that this will have.
Yeah, we just gotta trust in the process, I guess.
I don't even know, man.
I don't know what the payoff is, but we just gotta trust in the process. But again, same Yamato cover story, and then we could just jump right into the chapter, and it kind of leaves off exactly where the last chapter ended, which was we get the perspective of Saint Summers. He just obviously destroyed Saul, you know, as you can see.
Yeah, Saul did not even have a chance, man. Mm-hmm. I thought, dude, when I saw the thorns everywhere, like this goes to like the previous chapters, like I thought it was just like, Walker Summers is up to no good. Like as in like he's a fucking problem. He just clapped Saul like it was nothing. And Saul was supposed to be like a vice admiral, right? Like vice admiral level.
Yeah.
So actually handled him with no problem.
Oh yeah.
But when we see this fight, we see like this chapter just starts off with a flashback prior to what we see now. It's just like Saul telling them like, hey, like this guy's a holy knight, like be careful.
Yeah,
like it's I've seen him before, blah blah blah. So I kind of like want to know like how much Saul actually knows about everything else too. Mm-hmm. I know compared to everybody else in the story, like aside from the Holy Knights and aside from the past, right? Because he has like strong ties with O'Hara. Mm-hmm. I wonder what else Saul actually knows too. Yeah. What's up with the world government, but. Mm-hmm. He knows that they're immortal and all that kind of stuff, and like he tells Robin and Chopper to hide just so they can save the kids later. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, I guess Saint Summers is I think he's talking to Gunko, and Gunko at this point has rounded up a portion of the Straw Hat crew. I think she has Jinbei, Brook, Usopp, and Nami. And I think this is the point where I wanted to bring up was that immediately could tell Gunko recognizes Brook.
And, we finally get the interaction.
Lyle was right. Not entirely, because although she acknowledges Brook, you know, I remember you mentioned a few weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, like, do you think, you know, she's like a super fan and that she's gonna waver, you know?
I thought she was, because we know how big fans the Soul King fans are, man.
Yeah.
And she did not falter whatsoever.
She did not falter. I was gonna say, you know, she definitely recognizes Brook, but she did not falter.
She's like, yeah, be my slave.
She literally tells him that he's gonna write music for her for the rest of her life and become her slave. And I think it's funny seeing everyone's reaction is just like, what? Like, she knows Brook's music? like a celestial dragon who's like an actual fan? And even Jinbei is just like, that sounds like a nightmare of a fan. I thought that was kind of funny. But
and I love Brook's reaction to this.
Yeah.
It's just like he's like any dude, because Brook is also we forget, man. Brook and Sanji are part of the goon duo.
Yes.
And it's just like, you know, I'm sorry, young lady, but Luffy saved my life, and I had to dedicate everything to him. Yeah. And he says, "I would rather die than live without honor."
I know.
And I'm like,
that was
my God, this respect.
Yeah.
Respect to Brook for even just holding it down.
No, I really like that, and I took notes here because I felt like, especially over time, Brook has just become kind of like a comic relief character, similar to like Usopp, where, you know, we'll see him like have some action scenes once in a while, but mainly he's in the story to just like he always makes his jokes, you know, and I think over time he's just become like a more of a comedic character. So to see him deliver this line, I was like, damn, dude, like, yo, this guy's kind of cool as hell.
I really like that. I like seeing that.
He definitely gained some oral points when he just told her, like, nah, like I'd rather die than live with honor. But then he loses it right after because he gets kicked.
Yeah, during that whole scene too, like I thought it was interesting seeing like I think it was Saint killing him, like warning them, like we gotta be careful what we do with this crew because we don't want to piss off. I say Luffy, Straw Hat Luffy.
I think it was Summers, but yeah, I noticed that I really like that detail. It seems like they're also like they're not here to pick a fight with Luffy.
Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe it's like similar to how like CP0 needs permission or anyone needs permission to attack an Emperor level crew. So it's like how much do you see these guys as a threat? Because in my head I'm just like like these Holy Knights and like if they could just like rile everybody up and just attack like Emperor, that'd be fine, right? But like they know how serious that could be, and like that's just not even possible because of just like how much of a battle it's gonna be. Like you just look how many people to kill Whitebeard, right? And it's I thought that was a cool detail. We saw it at first it was killing him, saying that to Summers, and later in the chapter we see Summers saying that as well to Gunko. I think it was to Gunko or saying killing him, but yeah, I thought that was cool. And after all that, Summers finally starts his announcement. His big announcement. He's telling everybody, can you hear me? Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah. Is this mic on?
Is his mic on? Hello? He exposes himself like, I'm the person that's been fucking taking all your children.
Yeah.
I'm Summers of the Holy Knights.
Like, the Holy Knights are here, the world government is here, like
I want you guys to, and he even says like we also fucked up this orange bearded guy. You're talking about something. We're not even gonna say his name. Yeah. We fucked up this orange bearded guy, and the kids are gonna go towards their goal, and I want you, and and there's something that we need to get from you guys, and it's. I thought it was like funny while they were saying all this stuff, right? Like we pan over to the kids marching. They start waking up. Killian finally wakes them up, and we see like Colin's like, like everybody stop being no bitch. I'm not no bitch. I'm a warrior. Instantly. Next panel.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
I really like that because you can see like. Especially even the panel before, like the pages before, like the nightmares are still rampaging throughout the island. If anything, like it seems like there's more. I don't know, like they're like everywhere apparently, and you can see everyone's still dealing with them. And then exactly, like the kids wake up and they see the nightmares, and Colin just folds immediately. And I really like this next part. Like it pans over to the giant pirates. And you could see that they're dealing with nightmares as well, and specifically, it looks like the nightmares are the wives of the warriors on the pirate ship.
Dude, I thought that was Big Mom at the bottom, bro.
Yeah, I know.
See, because it doesn't look like Big Mom when she gets like awakened or whatever.
Especially with the flaming hair. Yeah,
the flaming hair.
It really does look like Big Mom, but I like the one wife like that's on the ship and she just has like a ladle in one hand. But I thought this was really funny. You could see the warriors. I guess like the giant pirates talking about them. It's just like, oh, like these monsters came from the children's worst fears, right? And he's like, damn, this is also our worst fears.
Yeah. It's funny seeing Dory and Broggy like this because every time we've seen them, they've been like kind of like they're goofy, but it's like seeing them actually shook is pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then this was enough for them to just crash their ship.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, dude, because like when we see them in the previous chapter, it was like, dude, like, oh my god, like. Yeah, the Dory and Broggy are coming. The giant warriors are coming, guys. Like, we're gonna say today, nope. All it took is their wives to just crash the ship.
Yeah, so the ship crashes, and it just seems like at this point, like nobody's gonna be able to save the children. Like all the giants. I guess the new giant pirates seems like they're out of commission right now, and then you can see that Summers is speaking to Beard Ja Rule,
Ja Rule,
who he considers now is like I guess the boss, and he now obviously he announces their plan that they want to make the giants slaves in I guess the upcoming battle, and then here they go on to list I believe all of the 10 children that are being held hostage. They go one by one.
I thought some of them were pretty were pretty funny. Like I thought like how Ranja is just like, don't worry guys, we got this. We got it. Like, you know, we're okay. Like I thought Johanna has horns. Maybe is she an ancient giant?
I know, I noticed that too.
We talk about that. But you know, these are all just the kids of all the giants. And then at the end we got Colin, and then like Gabon's like, yo, you hear that? You hear that Ripley? Yeah. That's my boy. That's my guy. Yeah. So it's we finally like they say like Summers mentioned yeah, like, you know, we want you to just pledge allegiance to us, and to do that we want you guys to just burn down the school and the libraries, and it's as like a symbol of like, you know, this is what you use, you know, swearing allegiance to us, and if not, we're gonna kill the kids one at a time. They said eliminate the brats, but you know, and you know, we know what they mean. You know, and
I think it's interesting.
And he's telling Ja Rule.
Yeah, he's telling Ja Rule that he has to make what seems like the ultimate decision. You know, and you can see Ja Rule's like, oh, like, or not, I don't think it's Ja Rule. It might be Ja Rule, or it might be the Librarian. But they're just like, dude, that's too cruel to make one person, you know, decide the fate of like pretty much everybody. And yeah, I think this is where, you know, the chapter ends, and you can see that, you know, Robin's had enough. You know, Gabin's like jumping into action in response to this, and I think they
both say, I won't let him do this. Yep,
like he's not gonna let this happen.
They both say it. And I love this, man. I love this part because Robin, I feel like we rarely get to see Robin fight nowadays. And it's like, you know, I know we saw her in Action Wano, you know, but
even like, that's been a while. That's technically like 2
It's been so long. Yeah. It's been so long. And it's like, every time I see Robin throw hands, I know she don't punch, but every time I see her do some fishman karate shit with her big ass hands, it is crazy. Like, I'm always very excited because Robin ain't no slouch.
No, and I think it's even more important here because, when you think about it, like, she looks at Saul as basically like a family member, you know, and to see that she just had to watch him just get completely beat by Summers, like you could tell she's pissed, you know, and she can like no longer, you know, contain it. Even Chopper's like trying to hold her back, like, yo, like don't, like, Robin, you can't do this, like don't do this. But it seems like she's had enough.
It's because like too, like, the first time she wasn't able to do anything because she was just a little kid.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do against Kizaru? You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck are you gonna do? It's like
Aokiji.
Yeah, Aokiji. Oh no, Kizaru. Yeah, Aokiji. My bad. Kazan. But it's like now she has the chance of actually being able to do something, and it's like, I thought I lost you once. I'm not gonna. I don't like. Probably in her going through her head. Like, I don't want to let that happen again.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to go through that again of losing you again. And she finally squares up, and also too, we get to see Gabon big ass smile on his face.
Oh yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna let this shit happen, bro.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool as fuck, man. I thought it was I'm very excited to see like how this is all gonna happen too next week.
No, I'm the same way. So I guess what would you rate this chapter?
A 7.
Okay.
I'd say it was a 7. I thought it was kind of light. With everything was going on. It did up the stakes a little bit. Now that we thought, at least I thought, they were taking the kids as hostages to train to become like, you know, part of the Holy Knights. But instead, they actually said, no, we are taking these kids and we're going to kill them if you don't join us. So it does raise the stakes a lot more.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was really funny too, like throughout the chapter of just they call in like, oh, you know, I'm a warrior, seeing also the giant warrior pirates just getting clapped by their own wives. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
If you get to, I'd say it's a cool 7.
Okay. Pretty good score. Let's see. I gave this chapter a 5 out of 10. Um, I felt like for me, everything that I read in this chapter, we like throughout the last few chapters, I already kind of knew. You know, we already knew that I believe specifically in the last chapter that like the Holy Knights were planning to use like the kids as hostages. Um, we already knew like I felt like it was already leading towards this kind of conversation of Summers, you know, with the Giants, like, okay, you guys have to join us in this battle. So I felt like it was almost like, I guess before it wasn't like explicitly said, but now it's like, it's very much clear. But I felt like we already kind of knew this information, or we're getting pointed towards, you know, this kind of destination. I thought that the end of this chapter kind of really saved it. You know, I feel like seeing Gavin like jump into action is always cool, but then I felt like we saw it a few times before, but nothing really happened. So I'm wondering if we'll get the same thing as we did a few weeks ago, where it seems like he's.
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember when he was with the Giant Warriors, right?
Yeah.
And we thought it was gonna be crazy, and do shit.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm wondering what's gonna happen, but it seems like now they're confronting the Holy Knights, you know, and it's personal for him. So, yeah. So I think the stakes, like what you said, the stakes are a lot higher, and so it seems like it's been. I feel like a lot of the chapters have been building up to this point, and then we're kind of seeing that it's slowly tipping over, you know, for Robin, characters like Robin and Gavin. So my hopes is that we get to see some action, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why I rated it like a little higher than you know than what you scored is because I do understand like this is all just building up, build up, and like it's a build up like tool. I thought you know it's doing its job pretty well. It is making me excited for the next chapter. It's been. You know these chapters, is all these chapters in the Elbaf has all been getting me very excited to see what's gonna happen next. And it's not like there's nothing happened here. Okay, please something happening. No, it's just like we're starting to see things unravel a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I said, you know, the stakes are getting higher, getting me like excited what's gonna happen.
It's slower, but it's still like adding to the build up, I believe.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, I also just hope that we get like my hope. I believe last week was that we would get the dude, and I know I say this every single week, but the Loki backstory or the what is it, King Harold backstory. Like
we need to see that.
So that's what I'm like actually hoping to see every single week. Was like I think that's the thing that I'm personally most curious about as of right now.
I think we will. I'm hoping we do get it next week, especially because we didn't get anything at all this week. At least in the past few weeks, where it has been.
We'll get like something
what's
like
been going on Elbaf.
Yeah, like some sort of.
We will get like 1 or 2 pages of what's going on with Loki, but we can get shit at all this week. Of what's going on with Loki.
Yeah.
So I do think like we might be able to get at least something from that backstory next week, hopefully. But yeah, that's also something I really want to see too.
Yeah, for some reason, I doubt it though. I don't know why. I feel like we're not going to see Loki for a while, which makes me kind of, to be honest, it actually makes me kind of sad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't get to see even Luffy at all this chapter.
Yeah. So, no Luffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I guess that concludes this manga review.
Yeah, I guess it concludes everything, man. I don't think I think there's a break at 11 for next week.
Is there? It doesn't. I don't think it says. It just says.
I'm reading,
but I'm not sure. Sometimes he does drop like a break. Here and there.
Let me clarify this. Golden Week. What is Golden Week?
Oh, I think they do take a break. I don't know exactly what it is, but I do remember hearing that a lot of people take breaks during that week. So
well,
I guess maybe.
So we'll next chapter is. I don't think there's a chapter. Was it said not said? Golden, whatever.
Yeah. Possibly a chapter next week, maybe not.
No chapter, no chapter. It's Golden Week.
Obviously,
It's Golden
you
Week.
already know anime episode, and also we have some fun activities that we think we're gonna drop, or even do another one. So definitely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Oh my God, yeah. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I thought this was a pretty fun episode we did today. Make sure you guys subscribe, like the video, comment if you made it this far. Any feedback is good feedback, and also follow us into our socials in the description, and we have a lot more stuff coming in.
Yep.
As we're pumping out these episodes now, we're getting a lot more content.
Yeah, we're getting a lot more comfortable with production. I think that's been a big thing that's kind of been holding us back, is like we're just figuring out from like a production standpoint how to do these episodes, and we're kind of like slowly ironing out all the little details, but no, definitely stay tuned for what's coming next.
All right.
Okay.
Later, guys. Till next time.
Until next time.
Peace.